This message center is tested and can go into well sub-zero below temperatures. Same thing with curtain lumber. Since it's meant for an inside location, every February or so, it like freezes halfway between the message change. And it stays there for a day or two until it warms up, and then it clicks back in, and then it changes the message. You also get an Ignite software, and that software is basically proprietary to their message centers. It has the advantage that you basically see exactly what it's going to look like on the board when it's displayed, and it won't allow you to actually display something that doesn't fit. You ever seen a message center that like it just has text? The top line, the top of the letters are missing. You can read the middle line, the bottom of the letters are missing. That will never happen because it's set right into your programming, the matrix that you have. And then also the idea that this message center system is, and they do everything. They do everything from what you're looking at doing to billboards on the freeway to they did Anheuser-Busch Stadium in St. Louis. So all different levels. Now the sign itself, the upper portion of the sign where it says the Groveland Fire Department, that is an all aluminum cabinet. Okay, so it'll never rust. The face is Lexan. It is considered basically unbreakable. I mean, a 9mm will go through it, but you can hit it with a brick hammer all day long and it won't do a thing to it. I once had an attorney that said the sign was bubbling, and I went and looked at the sign and it looked like a golf ball. It was textured in the plastic, and I circled it with an erasable marker because it had all the partners' names. I said, "Who's this guy? I don't know him." And he was like, "Well, he's the divorce attorney." I'm like, "Well, somebody's unloading buckshot. I understand." At point blank range. I would add to your outside lighting if you were personally. I mean, and that's why I showed him. It's like this side, and then the other side was cold server. And he's like, "Wow, yeah." It still didn't go through. Didn't break it. Now, the vinyl graphics are all high performance translucent, so they will light in true color. And then whether or not the Michigan State Police wants theirs on there or not, we can determine at a later date, because we can also put headquarters or a website, we can put anything in that, and then, they may want it in the future or something of that nature. Now the base itself is a synthetic faux base, but it is solid throughout. It's not hollow inside. It's not framed out with wood. It's polystyrene with a hard coat and then a textured finish. And what we do is we give them the specs so that when we come out and do the foundation, you're gonna have two rectangular pieces of steel sticking up in the air. We're gonna take that out there and we're gonna slide it right down over that steel. It's gonna sleeve right through. Also, the electrical's gonna sleeve right through. Now, the icons or the fire department logos that are on the stone base, what they will do there is we will set them a CAD/CAM file, and that area will have plywood, and there won't be any stone there. It will be flush and then set in. We will wait till we get the base in hand, and then that will determine how deep we make that LED illuminated form-fitting cabinets, because we don't want to, not be able to take off the face at a later date, in case one of the stones sticks out a little bit. We take photos of the stone that you have around the base of the building. We send that to them, and I think some of you may have seen the sample that I had left for Kevin in his office. They make a mock-up sample and send it to us. And we can go right out there on the site and compare it and make sure it looks good, and then we tell them to do it. So each step of the way, it's followed through. Now you have two options. You have a larger option and a smaller option. Since there are certain fixed costs Like for instance, if my guys are installing a 2x8 message center, it's gonna take the same amount of time if it's a 2x10. The foundations are the same. The steel is the same. The time to weld the cabinets and do the vinyl, it's all the same. It's just a little bit more material. So by going to a larger option, you're actually 25% larger, but you've only increased your price by 10%. The same thing holds true with an ultra high resolution versus a high resolution. The 10 millimeter versus the 8 millimeter. The 8 millimeter has 45% more LEDs in every square foot. It only costs 11% more because the cabinet cost is the same. The microprocessor cost is the same. The controllers, the dimmer, all those technology, the guts of it, it doesn't matter what size tile it's hooked up to. So what it comes down to is that the 8 millimeter larger option is truly the best value because of the fact that you get more bang for your buck, so to speak. You know, it's only $7,000 more than the 10 to go to that higher of a resolution. And with an 8 millimeter resolution, you could literally, you could play a video of it. You could put a TV show on.
Jim, you got any questions? No. You good? Yeah. John, you got anything to say? No? You don't wanna pay for it yourself?
If I had it.
Keith, you got anything?
No, I think explains it all very well.
Yeah, this explanation makes great sense. My only question is, okay, is this part of that $400,000 we budgeted back in February?
Me and John talked about that this morning, and I think we're in good shape on that, don't you, John?
Yes.
Hey, I do the first study. I know it's a lot of money. I know it's a lot of money. But we got over a $3 million building. I think it's a good thing to set the tone over there for the community. I told Keith earlier, I never realized how many people looked at this sign until I took office here. And I know we're gonna have more traffic count over there, so I would love to have a sign out there we could get messages on.
What kind of messages would we put out there? Would
Well,
they-
I think it could either be fire or township related, either
Okay.
or. Yeah, I wouldn't limit it to just the fire department.
Well, I mean, it's MSP and fire.
Well,
and-
MSP, yeah, not worried about it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't
I don't
know that they would, but,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know if it was gonna be specifically fire department only?
No,
or if-
township would use it,
Okay,
for sure. Yep, yep.
And if I may say, given the fact that the festival there north on Dixie, okay, the traffic that you get past there is astronomical. I mean, I have to figure out another way to get into the office if I'm running in late. It's like, I'm going down back roads.
But you know, you
Where are you at with the completion of the building? I know at one
got, we're
point.
about 60 days out.
Okay. Yeah, see, one thing we also do, which is why the terms are the way they are, we take more than half down, but the reason for that is twofold. First of all, the actual cultured stone base is totally custom. So they want us to not only pay a deposit, but when it's done, they send photos of it. I gotta pay the balance before it leaves. And that comes from either Pennsylvania or Georgia. This company has done some amazing things in entrance signs. I think it's one of my favorites. They don't like to really push it that much, but they did a 25-foot tall Mr. M&M in yellow. Painted M&Ms, lifelike, all out of, I just thought that was neat when they did it 15 years ago. Now they're like getting even more intricate. And then the message center, which can take up to 6 weeks or more to ship, because they're custom made for each order, we prepay the message center with Watchfire. What that does is two things. First of all, it saves you a little bit of money, because I save a little bit of money and I pass that savings on to you. And more importantly, they're an accrual system in their bookkeeping. So they don't consider it a sale till they ship me the sign. When I prepay the entire sign cost, it's a negative on their balance sheets, and they don't like that. They want to get it off the balance sheets as quick as possible. I don't understand, 'cause I'm always cash basis as a small guy, but that's what they try to do, because they do things for, you know, like for instance, they handle all the Chick-fil-A's in the entire country. They're just,
I have a question. Is the base, will the numbers for the address be in that base? Is that,
well, we don't have the address on it right now, but what we could do, and what I would suggest, if you want the address on it, is because of snow and other, you know, things like that, is if you look at the end view of the cabinet, the top cabinets where it says the fire department are actually two cabinets placed back to back. Now, I could make one cabinet, but I don't do that when I do a message center, because what happens is if you have a single cabinet, you have a single source of lighting in the middle. So that means that your LED is, you know, 10 inches away from the face. What ends up happening is the message center is so bright that you could drive by and you know what the message center says, for the life of you, you can't remember what the business or the entity was because it's so much dimmer. So what you have on the end is a 20-inch wide space. What we could do is do the address vertically there and even do it in a reflective vinyl, so that when headlights hit it and things like that, it reflects back. That's where I would suggest doing it. That's where I like to do
something
it
that
on.
would look nice and integrated, not like an afterthought. How would
Right.
integrate that?
Yeah, and stuff. But if when you do it on the end, you can, you know, because you don't want to get too tall. They're 10 feet already.
Did you have something, Jim?
I just was asking Jim exactly where it would be placed.
Oh, gotcha.
We would take wood forms, get them on the right centers. Miss Stig's been out there, but I'd have them back out there. And then we would place it and have you look at it. Have Kevin look at it, whoever. It would be on the right side of the
On the
driveway,
property.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be on one side of the driveway.
the east side.
Okay, so the Mavis sign and location, like,
Yeah, we want to make sure that everyone's
Well,
It'd
happy.
be across the front.
What I even like to do is take the wood form, you know, the size of the foundations, and even take a board and nail it to it up in the air so you have an understanding that that's gonna be the top of the sign. You know? But that can all be worked out.
What, you got any other questions?
How do you power it? I don't know. That's a
Well,
silly
we're gonna have to
question.
run the electricity out to it, but with that being said, when we do the entrance, the landscaping out there, we're gonna be power in out there for that, so.
Okay.
You don't have the power included, right?
No, no, but I do have in the proposals what the power requirements are, and I would help work that out with whoever running it. We have both of the message centers on their own designated circuits, because even if a message center is in sleep mode, it still needs power, because it has, this is an active cooling system, meaning that there's fans inside and venting in the front of the message center that keeps those microprocessors cool on warm days like today. And of course, those fans shut down automatically by sensor when they're not needed during the winter. And they're good for, I think it's in Celsius. I think it's 55 below zero.
How does this sign do when, you have frequent losses of power?
Yeah, well, see, the one benefit with this is it will automatically reset, and whatever you put on there, it'll remember the time, and it'll remember what it's supposed to say.
So we would need probably 4 circuits out there. You know, two, the sign needs 2, and you want something for landscaping, and then just
Yep.
maybe a future
Right.
actually have 3 circuits for the sign. One for the top cabinets, which is can just be a simple 20 amp, because it's just LED power supply. But you would then have 1 circuit for the east side of the message center and 1 for the west side. Those remain on all the time. And then the other one, we can either do a photo cell or we can time clock it, however you want. Either one of them are very well, anyone, time clocks or photo cell.
So, I might sound a little naive on this. What is the immediate necessity of the sign?
The immediate necessity?
Yeah.
I don't think it's immediate, although we need a sign out there to identify
I
it.
agree with all that.
Part of the immediate now is, I don't know what it says here, this price is only good for how long, Mark?
Well, I had them extended, but basically to the end of this week, because what they're having is
The
tariffs are like, got everybody like it's the Wild West. And I don't understand that, but it's gonna even out.
We know.
I mean, it's just, you know, and then also, I mean, just the idea that it informs, it's so informative with the message center of all the different things, whether it be, you know, like you're talking the assessing, whether someone wants to know what dates they can, you know, talk to the committee or the board or whatever that handles that, if they wanna, but holidays are closed, you know, and things of that nature. Of course, all the holidays like Happy 4th, but everything like that. I mean, and the benefit with this program is, it is extremely easy to work with. I mean, what I'm showing you there with the Eagle graphic, that is very much possible. I mean, that's 8mm resolution. If you wanted to, I wouldn't, but if you wanted to, you could have it on. And I mean, it's just, that's the capability of it. And I say it's good to work with because of the fact that I did a Clyde's Wheel and Frame in Pontiac in 2008, it's a watch fire, and their mechanic is the guy who programs it. And that message center's been up 16 years and not a single LED is on.
What's the lead time?
We're about 6 to 8 weeks. If you're trying to do a July 1st opening, or if you're having a event or anything else to show the community, the fire department and things, it would be, I'll make sure it's there. Simple. I don't like people opening those signs. Sets a bad precedent. And the other thing, you know, like you were saying, you know, you have what, 180 or how many acres do you have there?
About 180.
Okay. I mean, you can put on this message center
Yeah.
things about that property and the development. And you have no idea who's, you know, coming up for whether it be scary house or across the street, you know.
Excuse me, Mark, will you do me a favor? Would you kind of point where you
Mhm.
think this sign's gonna go?
Yes.
Somebody?
Right there.
Give me a second here.
The east side.
East side, right by the,
I mean,
Yeah.
down here toward the road?
right there,
Okay,
right up in that corner, Jim.
okay.
Yeah, right where your cursor is. No? Get in there.
Great, thanks.
So, because that way we can get a sight line, long enough sight line coming this way. Of course, when you come out of the curve, I mean, I realize these are your guys' trees, but the county doesn't want you to take too much down, it's longer there. The sight line coming this way is actually better.
Great,
From Dixie, it's a lot better.
Just gonna ask, what did we just buy for the fire station for a sign? What did we just buy?
We didn't buy anything for the fire station, we did mines of Oakland.
We did the Mines of Oakland,
Yep,
and that sign is going,
on the opposite side.
Okay,
Yeah, we're not putting more on.
okay.
All right. What's your thoughts?
I think we should go for the larger, 8mm sign. The 8mm LEDs, that's the one that's multicolored.
Yeah,
The
it's not a
still
multi-color. Yeah.
Still the three colors.
Yeah, it actually has almost 50% more LEDs than W12. It's considered ultra high resolution. It's basically what you would find in either 8 or 6 would be in like Little Caesars Arena, America Park. That kind of stuff. And they can afford those, not because they're Little Caesar Arena, America Park, but they don't have to have it out in the cold. Different. There's a lot of features that they don't put into it.
Oh, first of all, I saw your signs last month and they are phenomenal. That was so cool to have that in the parking lot. So for anybody who was here, I'm sure you saw it, and they are really, really cool. I'm a little, and maybe it's just me, maybe with the lights it would be different, but that particular location, if the idea is to have an informational sign, which right now we have 0 over at Fire 1, and the other one at Fire 2 is used not a whole lot.
We only have the letters we exchange, so
Yeah.
we're pretty limited.
Yeah, it's a big expense for potentially limited visibility there, just because it is right around that curve. And so that's the only thing that I'm wondering, and going along with that is, you know, we are in kind of this developmental stage of this tech park. Even our sign here is not ideal. You can drive past that and see one thing as you pass. And the only thing I'm thinking is, you know, when you really get to read it is if you pull into the parking lot. So wherever this eventually goes, you know, whatever, is it more advantageous for us to see how the tech park kind of develops before we create and establish this great sign and informational piece for the community? Would that be more advantageous than trying to determine what we want right now, when it's a very small piece of potentially and ideally a much bigger puzzle?
Well, we're always gonna have our fire department there, and it's pretty much for the fire department. We can put things on there for the tech park if we like, if we want to.
But I'm just wondering if as that develops, it would be better to put it in a location that is more easily visible for people in the tech park. That's my only thought. I just know that even Mavis, you know, you tell people it's by the Mavis building, they have no idea where it is, because you pass it so quickly, there's not a whole lot of.
Because of the rise of it.
Right, so I'm just thinking, are we gonna get stuck in that same thing?
I think that, personally, my professional opinion, 40 years of doing this, I think a couple things. First of all, I think I'm confident that we can put it in a position that the sight line is satisfactory. Worst case scenario, all you do is you trim some of the trees, because really, like you're coming from the curve, okay? If you're heading eastbound, you have to realize that you're one car over. So as you're coming around, your sight line is greater at an angle anyways, you know, just geometry. If you need to have the road commission or whoever do some of the trimming of the trees, that would be fine. Then also the other thing is, I think it's worthwhile and important for the people to know, not only the residents of the township, but those that are visiting the township, to know where the fire department is. You know, I mean, that's one reason why hospital signage, police department signage, fire department signage is so important, because of the fact that, you know, you have some people that realize that there's a medical emergency or something of that nature, that, because you would never know that that's the fire department because of how far back it is.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be a sign
Yeah.
to indicate the fire department, but I just wanna know that people will appreciate it. I mean, this will end up being close to almost what, $75,000 probably, with electricity pulled
Yeah,
back
probably.
there. It's a significant,
Yeah, it's significant.
But I think you would also,
what was that?
Probably 20,000 for power.
So maybe closer to $100,000?
Not 200,000.
No, closer
Coming
to
from our
100.
power,
So I just wanna make sure with that big, that's a significant investment, and $100,000 can be well used in many places. So I just wanna make sure that it's in a position.
well, I think the one thing is that from a business standpoint, okay, marketing standpoint, I think that by putting the sign there and being able to, on the tech park, even have parcels listed, sizes, costs, I mean, I think you need to look at it as by investing this money there. To me, if that was a private development, I would do it because I know that the rest of the development is going to happen that much more quickly because of the fact that I'm going to be able to let people know more about it. Because I don't think most people have any idea, you know, the potential and, you know, what they could build in there or anything of that nature. I think that, and of course, because of, you know, it's not Canterbury Village, but, you know, the traffic count that you get through here, I mean, you're comparable to the people that go to Pine Hill. I mean, it's just astronomical, you know, and I would think that it would really, quite frankly, I would think that it would really, make the tech park take off. Versus you're gonna have somebody that is gonna come by it and not realize that that wasn't even an option. And then investigate it, and you're gonna have people doing their buildings in there. You know, I mean, that's what a developer would do if it were totally private.
We're still gonna need some manner of signage, I call it wayfinding signage, so that strangers know the difference between the Mavis building and the fire department. So we're still, we're gonna spend some more money.
Well, that would, I would think that would be either graphics or plaques.
Oh, yeah, of some
Yeah.
kind. Yeah, if it's a necessity, it is. I'm just getting sticker shock, that's all.
Well, I think we all have sticker shock.
Well,
It's up to you guys. I mean, we can make a motion, or if you wanna table it, but just know it's gonna be more when we come back to it.
Well, the other thing is the timing of it. If we got 60 days to open the building, we need 6 to 8 weeks to get it. It's, the timing is just about right.
well, I'll do the wayfinding signage at no cost if I can get a donation. I'd like to do any, I'm a bit of a libertarian. You know, lower my taxes. You know, 'cause I have,
Well, those were the only things that I just,
Isn't Barry reconfiguring that section of roadway as well, so it opened it up?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stuff removed out of there, especially on the south side. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of stuff's gonna be gone there. Alright, does anybody wanna make a motion, or do we wanna table it, what do you wanna do?
I make a motion that we get the 10-foot 3-millimeter LED sign. 68,000.
I'll support it. Laura, you want a roll call, please?
Keith Wiederhold,
Yes.
Kevin Scramlin,
Yes.
Janelle Keller,
yes.
Teresa Bells,
Yes,
Jim Christopher.
Yes.
you did say it's part of the budgeted money, we already budgeted this.
I don't think we put that in the notes. Alright, you wanna keep spending money, we'll talk about the BC3 quote.
I think they had a little
Yeah, that
This
is.
one I know we
Okay.
We did budget it. And Teresa, we thought about 8, is instead of 6.
Yeah.
So they work out to be about $2,200 more. So what did we say, that put us at like 12,500?
Something like that.
The only question I had about this, and I talked about, about it earlier, if there was anybody else we wanted to get a quote from, but I know we work with VC3, and whether we want anybody else delving into the software, or whether just to go with VC3, that's my
Well,
question.
I guess the dilemma is, VC3 it can be a one-stop shop, right? We can purchase it all through them, and they can be the, IT and support and so on, but we are, looking at cybersecurity, and there's a quote we're still waiting on from VC3 in terms of how much that will be for enhanced cybersecurity. They say that currently we have small business coverage, whatever that means, right? They're like, you need to upgrade to municipal coverage. So we already know that their $572 a month is gonna increase to something. I just don't know what. And then I have an appointment set up for Wednesday with another company, Black Rock Technology or something.
I saw the black cat.
So they also are, cybersecurity and everything. So I know that, whoever you go with, they like to put all their own cybersecurity, spyware, whatever it is, on the computers, and would love for us to just one-stop shop them. I don't know if we should do it right now, or if we should get a couple more quotes and see, like maybe this BlackRock Tech, because we haven't decided if we're gonna stay with BC3 for enhanced cybersecurity, or if we're gonna go with another company. And by the way, I'm open to suggestions for any other company that anybody might know for cybersecurity. Just trying to get some quotes and, get something set up, but I definitely know we definitely need to get some new computers. The server, they said, was from 2019, or the firewall, I'm sorry, not the server, the firewall. And so did I didn't see a firewall on here.
This is just for the computers themselves. Okay. So I was gonna bring that up anyway, Teresa, because I knew you were talking to BlackRock. Where this really stemmed from, I know you know this, but for everybody else. So our plan originally, when we put this into the budget in October, I think it is, Windows 10, the operating system for the computers, will no longer be serviced. So if we have any issues, there aren't any updates or anything. So we knew going into this fiscal year that we were going to need to replace our computers. Well, about probably 3 weeks ago, right after our last board meeting, one of our staff members' computers entirely tanked, lost a lot of information. So we thought, well, we hadn't planned on purchasing these computers just yet. It would be ideal probably to, I guess at this point it's working. So if we wanted to postpone them, we really could. But I know that you were talking to BlackRock as well. So it seems to be working for Danielle. If we wanted to just kind of hold out, I have not heard, have you heard of her not having access to anything at this point?
I know Angela had trouble with, getting tax on her computer.
She did get that fixed.
No, I know she did, but it took a long time for them to do it, and she says it looks different, so I don't know what that means.
Okay. I mean, I do agree with you, Teresa. I know we're looking elsewhere, and it could be cheaper if we ended up deciding to go through a different IT company. This is, like you said, this is the whole package. This is them taking everything off of our computers, making sure it's on our new computers, getting our access points in with our logins, making sure we're all hooked up to the network and the scanners are working. This is like the whole shebang through this. Our
And basically
current IT.
just getting us back to where we're at now anyways.
Exactly.
Um,
With nice new computers that can actually be serviced.
So could we, does this include extra monitors for people who have two monitors?
No, but we should be able to still use
Just
our
keep using our
monitors,
monitors.
yeah.
Okay. If we could, I think it's important to go to 8 computers instead of 6.
That would be my recommendation as well.
And then,
Cover the security, actually turnovers, or I'm sorry, for the tax assessor.
So that would be
Yeah.
if we moved it up to 8, we could replace the one at the front counter, and then also that shared computer if we decided, or what, since we did again, have the new assessor and then our ordinance officer and Sergeant Moore. So then they would have a functional computer.
Is the security, the 30 days housed on our computers, or is it in the cloud somewhere?
For the cameras, that is not on the computers, no.
I think we need to upgrade the firewall at the same time we do, well, maybe not at the same time we do the new computers, but with part of the cybersecurity upgrades, we're gonna have to upgrade that firewall. I think if this is just purchasing the equipment and getting it in place, whoever we decide to go with, whether we continue with VC3, if we take on a different company, they're just gonna take what we currently have and make it, cover it, whatever. I don't think it'll make a big difference if,
Yeah, when
That
VC3
being said-
took over IT, right, we didn't really see anything on our end, nothing was different, it was just, they said VC3 when they picked up the phone instead of IT, right? So I assumed that all of that background would all be about the same. But honestly, I'm not passionate either way, I'd be totally fine if we want to leave on it.
I would really like to see what this BlackRock tech,
I'm impressed by them as well.
because, yeah, that's the card you gave me from one of the things you were at. I looked at them, their site, they are veteran owned and they're out of Ann Arbor area, so they're Michigan people. And, I mean, I know that VC3 is hit or miss, depending on, so far it's been mostly English speakers that we've spoken to, but they are from all over the United States. And I don't know that that is necessarily a good or a bad thing, but they've given us a preliminary quote for cybersecurity upgrades, and it's like eye-popping, pricing. So I'm kind of like, maybe we need to, go with some others, but I don't wanna say, heck no, let's wait a whole nother month. If there's people's computers on the fritz, can we say, like, I don't know, are we allowed to make a motion that says, I support purchasing, Danielle a computer, Angela a computer, because they're absolutely needed right now. And then, because the last thing I need to do is hold this off for a month and then somebody's dies and, well, we just haven't, Teresa wouldn't spend the money or whatever. No, that's not it. I wanna make sure if we're spending this, is the next, if we choose to go with a different tech support, are they gonna say, oh, that's proprietary or whatever? I
don't know the answer to.
But if there's, I say we get Angela and Danielle each a computer now, and then we explore a couple other cybersecurity or other, like, these are Lenovo's. It's just the hardware, right? But they're gonna put Windows 11 on there.
The only thing I don't know is if that price, because they created this as a project with all 6, if it will differ. I can't envision that it would differ by that much, but I'm just, if we were gonna do that, we may need to project a larger cost just in case it goes up because we're only purchasing 2 instead of 6 or 8.
So
Just a thought.
workstation fully configured for client's environment, domain joined in, security software installed, VC3 tools installed. So they're putting their proprietary tools on it.
Well, and if that's the case, then do we wanna do that for the other 2 anyway?
Just if you did get these 2 and there's proprietary stuff on there and then you decide to go with somebody else to get the other 6, then you got something different.
Right. So that's why I'm wondering, if should we just wait? I mean, it's not like their computers are not working.
I think.
We'll know by Thursday if BlackRock is even something that you wanna deal with.
I said we table it, roll the dice, see where we're at. If something happens, then we'll have to react to that.
Is everybody okay with that?
You guys are the ones using them, if you guys are okay.
Are you all right with that?
Well, I'm alright with it now that Danielle has a functional computer.
Yeah.
You asked me 3 weeks ago and I would've said we need to buy it right now. But she seems to be operating okay as is, I think we'd be fine to wait a few more weeks.
Ultimately get what you want. I don't see a problem making a motion. More research.
Well, let's table it, we'll get more information, especially if we're gonna be here, what, Wednesday?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
we have that appointment Wednesday with
Okay.
them, and then we can, I mean, I'd like to still reach out and see if we can get another company as well for cybersecurity. And then, I mean, I know we budgeted for it, I don't remember the dollar amount we budgeted, but we knew we were gonna need to do this, so. And I would like to get it done sooner as opposed to later, because the last thing we need is, you know, somebody's computer to crash in the middle of building season or tax collecting or, you know, an election or whatever. So we do intend to do this. I just wish that we had more information right now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if we purchase, then we're kinda locking ourselves in and
Okay. We'll do this stuff together and do it next month. You good with that?
as long as everybody's in agreement with that.
I think so.
Okay.
Jimmy, good with that?
If we have the information sooner, I think, as you're concerned, if we have the information, we don't need to wait 3 weeks.
Right.
I'm really okay with passing judgment if it's appropriate by email, like we've done in years past when there's an emergency with fire equipment. If that is the best of both
I don't
worlds,
think we can do that. I agree with you, but I don't think we can do
That's the
that.
ideal world, yeah.
Yeah, I think we'd have to have a special meeting, if we get to that point. Let's hope it makes it till next month.
We can't make a motion that says I approve spending of up to, say if you said that would be adding on another 2,200.
I guess you could make a
Could we make a
motion that we
motion
could
that
spend
we-
up to $3,000 or something, and if we don't have to spend it.
On the 2 computers, you mean?
Yeah.
Just as an in-case scenario, is that what you're wondering, Jim?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we could do that. I'm
We could
sorry, I
pass
didn't
it.
understand what you were
I'm
saying.
not really articulate.
Teresa, you think you wanna
We could
approve
make
it
a
for all
motion
of them?
that says
plus the-
Yeah, we would just approve it now. I
$2,000. If we
absolutely-
don't have to, then we'll just wait till next month, but if we
I
ran
see.
into an emergency, we could buy 2 computers.
No, I'd like to just go ahead and make a motion that says we could spend,
Oh.
for the whole entire project, right? Like, what would that be, $12,000?
That's what we
With the
asked.
firewall?
Maybe say 13, just to be safe.
Yeah.
I don't know what we budgeted, but the firewall I was told was around 1,000.
20.
We budgeted 20 or something.
Okay, so I would say we make a motion, that we could spend up to $14,000 on 8 new computers and a firewall and workstation deployment. Whether it be with VC3 or another tech company.
Under to be determined.
I think that sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Support?
Yeah, support that.
Lori, you wanna take a roll call?
Kevin Scramlin,
Yes.
Janelle Keller,
Yes.
Teresa Bells,
Yes.
Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Keith Weiderholt.
Yes.
Letter F is the state police building. Cat 5 wiring in there, they had told us the whole time that their IT department was gonna do it. Last week they came back and said, no, we're not gonna do it, you do it. So lucky us, in our agreement with Bedrock, it specifically states in there that they're not responsible for it. I got a hold of Will, and in the lease with MSP, we are responsible for it. So the bid to do that is $7,435.18. I wish there was a lot of discussion about it, but I don't think we have any choice to do it. The only thing I will tell you is I'm gonna add this to the Holly and Rose list of reimbursements. So I make a motion, to do the Cat 5 wiring, state police, $7,435.18.
This is just providing pulling the cables.
Just pulling the cables.
Somebody
They're
at the
taking-
state police end is gonna punch them all down and
They're
test
gonna
everything.
take care of all that stuff, yeah, this is just installing the wire.
I'll second.
You wanna roll call that, please, Lou?
Janelle Keller,
Yes.
Teresa Bills,
Yes.
Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Keith Peterhold,
Yes.
Kevin Scranton.
Yes. And the last item that I added, actually you sent me this, didn't you, Janelle?
Yes.
The city of Hazel Park, had passed a resolution and, basically condemning the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, for their resolution of, 2025-5051, which was the rate of, the rate increase in assessing. And they actually were nice enough to send out a nice template. If we would like to do that, it's probably a little bit of a matter being after the fact, but I guess just to let Oakland County know where we stand, I guess I am for sending this resolution. I think the Board of Commissioners need to know how they're affecting all these communities, not just us, a bunch of other ones. So, the city of Hazel Park had started it. I would like to send it. Your guys' thoughts?
Is anybody else around here doing, sending this?
I know Holly is.
Holly is.
Yeah.
I don't see any harm in it.
I don't
No.
either.
I think it's good to go on record, let them know where we're at. So. Any motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we complete and submit, the resolution as submitted, with our information included to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, with Kevin as the signer.
Absolutely. I'll be glad to sign it.
I'll second that.
I'll be glad to sign it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. How youth assistance, Janelle?
Oh, sure, so, they have been busy, so I don't have some dates on a couple of these things. They're talking about Art in the Alley and the 5th Annual Pride Day, but I don't have official dates on that. They had their high school awards assembly May 9th, and on May 26th, if you haven't been to the Little Holly Memorial Day Parade, it's really cute. But they have that going on, Ortonville does one as well.
I'll be speaking that day.
Are you?
With the veterans, the memorial.
In Holly or Ortonville?
In Holly.
Oh, okay, great. So you guys can go see Kevin. In June, they have a teen block party, and June 12th, I lied, I do have Art in the Alley. June 12th from 7 to 9, they have a teen block party in Cripple Park. On June 7th, from 11 to 6, they have Art in the Alley, which will be in Battle Alley there. They have a health and enrollment fair coming up in August, and then they have holidays and community play day, September 6th and September 7th. I do also have a couple of things specifically for veterans. May 24th, they have the Value Veterans Program, 8:30 to noon brunch. For veterans, it is free. It is $8 for everyone else. They're honoring some veterans there. They have on May 18th, a fundraiser, spaghetti and meatballs with a cornhole tournament, silent auction, 50/50 raffle tickets, etc. I'll leave this out in case anyone's interested in checking it out. And then they have a vet to vet coming up on May 19th. Current active duty are welcome, prior military, and family and partners are welcome. So this is, they do this regularly every month for this dinner. So that, I think, is all I had for that.
Thank you. Did you add?
Yeah, so youth recognition night was the end of April, and that went really, really well. 47 students were recognized, and a lot of VIPs showed up. Kevin was there.
The most important one?
That's right. And then really the only other thing that I would like to mention is that VGYA's Wojo fundraiser days, the last Saturday of May 31st, and Sunday, June 1st, where if you mention that your purchase is to support VGYA, they will give 10%, but you have to mention it at checkout. Other than that, you can check their Facebook page and website for updates.
Thank you. Jim, Planning Commission?
The planning commission did meet, the majority discussion was more, I would say, preparatory, if that's the right word. We're still looking at revisions to the ordinances. And I continue to think the young lady that works as our planner really got her head on her shoulders. She's very good at direction and suggestions. Nothing earth shattering, everybody. Just double checked on something. There had been some dialogue. It looks like it's coming up with the next planning commission in a day or so about the CVS.
Right.
Right, whatever. At the corner of Grange Hall and M15 going to a kind of rather full service gas station. That's all I got.
Thank you. Keith, you get your first meeting
Yeah,
tomorrow
should be a
night.
banger.
Yeah, no kidding, wait a minute.
Trial by fire, buddy. All right, supervisor report. So I had the privilege of going to Lansing and submitting testimony to the House Energy Committee over regaining local control for bills 4027 and 4028. That was an interesting day, and to top it off, 2 days later, I got to Oakland County to the Finance Committee to watch the commissioners in action for what happened to assessing. So I got a real education in politics that week. Dunaskis's have been working on potential clients for the tech park. They do have a couple we're talking to. Also, they've been helping me with Oakland County Parks. We have a meeting with them this week, so I'm hoping maybe we can bridge something there to get something for our community and the fire department. So we'll see how that goes. As Jim said, the hot topic's been the gas station on M15. I was notified June, July, if you see ITC, the power lines, the company's gonna be in here cleaning them up, mowing under. So if you see them. Drake, KOA, Will was in front of the judge last Wednesday. They're working on an agreement. They came back and said they finally, after all this, they're gonna fill it. The judge gave them 3 weeks, said have this agreement in place, or it sounded like she was gonna do it. So that's where we're at with them. Will was actually happy, he said that she read through the stuff and could see our frustration. So that was a good thing. Something else I was gonna mention, maybe John was gonna mention this. I had got a couple of emails the last couple of weeks from disposal companies. They're trying to get the word out, do not throw out lithium batteries. I guess it had a couple of garbage truck fires with
Yeah.
these things exploding in them when they're compressing them. So I think I actually got 3 of them. So I don't know how many fires they've had, but obviously
We
it's,
should probably put that on the sign.
yeah, obviously it's
Certain brands of cordlesses
Yeah.
are really apt when you're using it.
And the last thing I wanted to say, April 15th, Dave Axe had passed away. Dave was here, obviously, here's as a trustee, and would end up being the treasurer here. So as a township, I'd like to pass along our condolences to the Axe family and the gratitude we have for all the years that Dave served here. And if anybody is interested, we've got memorials at Holly VFW on May 23rd. I think it was 2 to 4. So I just want to say that about Dave. He'll be missed. That's it. Do you know?
Oh, sure. Okay, so since we met last, the big thing that I have been working on more is well, I say I really am just the feeder of information. We've been working on the audit. So we had our auditors come in. So that's just been a lot of, making sure that they have all the information. They're doing this a little bit earlier this year in hopes that we can have that completed much earlier than we did last year. Few things that they're working on, but I think that they're nearing the end of that. So that's been going on. Just for informational purposes, Atlas Township did just adopt a new master plan. So for those of you who are interested, it is on their website. Holly Township has also finished a process to complete their master plan update. So between Holly and Atlas, those are both in the mix. We have been working on, so actually Laura and Angela have been diligently working on our community event next Wednesday from 5 to 7. We are doing just a little community event. If you recall, at our last board meeting, we had approved to do our shred day. At that same time, our Holly Library representative was here and wanted to come in and issue library cards for residents. So after thinking about it, we kind of said, okay, well, what if we did this as just a community resource day? So we'll have the shredding company here, do your spring cleaning, get rid of some of those boxes and papers you need to get rid of. We'll have the library here, so they'll be able to issue a library card if you don't have it, or update it. We also have moved to some new dump passes, so these are a hot item. So instead of somebody having to come in every single month and pick up a dump pass, they will be able to receive one of these, and they get one punch per month. There is a Groveland Township seal on each of these so that we can prevent any, illegal duplication. We're also going to have a fire truck there so that if children want to come, we have some events for them. They can tour the fire truck, or if the big children want to tour the fire truck, that's okay too. We will have, if you recall last summer, we had talked about doing a rock snake in front of the building, which it's an opportunity for, it can be adults, children, whoever. You paint a rock and basically it makes this really cool little snake looking thing. So that will all be here. We have our West Nile prevention stuff in, so your bug spray that everybody loves. It is currently available, but we will certainly have that next week. We'll be able to issue dog licenses, and that will be nearing, help me out here, Teresa, is it June 1st?
June 1st is the last day you can buy them without penalty.
Yeah.
The prices go up June 2nd.
So it'll be about a week before, a couple days over a week before the deadline for this summer. And then we are gonna have just some snacks, hot dogs, popcorn. We'd love for the community to come out, visit, get to know each other a little bit, have some fun here at the township. Other than that, I don't think I had anything really big. We have still here that we're probably having an election in November, talking about maybe trying to condense some precincts. They have increased the number of people that you can have at a voting precinct, which means we probably can condense it down to 2 locations instead of 3. It would be a cost savings for us to do that instead of operating 3 different locations. So we're kind of looking at that. We may have to wait till next year for that though. So that's all I have.
That's it. Thank you.
Sorry.
Just,
That's
you done?
I am done.
Okay.
I just wanted them to take one of these.
We talked about cybersecurity already, and just 2 things. Number one, I'm in the middle of preparing the summer tax bill, which of course everybody's just waiting to have arrive in their mailboxes. Oakland County is our assessor through June 30th, so they will see this process through smoothly, and summer tax bills will get out without a hitch. And our settlement was approved by Oakland County, and they're a little behind on their end of month payout. So although it was approved back in April, I don't think we're gonna see the payout money for it until June. So, but the good news is it was done, and it was done correctly, so everything is good there. That's it.
Good. All right, at this time, I'm gonna open it up to public comments. Anybody has any comments?
I would like to make
Go ahead.
That's okay. While I am not a resident of Groveland Township, nor am I a resident of Brandon Township, I was born and raised in the area. And as a business owner in the village of Ortonville, that is about 1/3 of a mile from 10 South Ortonville Road, I would like you to know that after looking at the variances requested, that as a local business owner, I'm in favor of it. And I think it would be a good use for that Rite Aid building, given the fact that there are so many of them vacant, because they decided to pull out of the entire state. I know that the setback requirement on the pumps are, considerable, but obviously the marathon isn't anywhere near meeting those requirements. The landscape requirement on the back, that's been wetland, we called it swamp when I was a kid, growing up there, for as long as I can remember. And it was someone who works with lighting all the time. I know that the weight trim, I believe it was, consultant's comment was 10 lumens. That's pretty much standard for anything. I've gone in at shopping centers and communities, like for instance, Waterford Township, that has changed somewhat over the years, and because of concerns of crime and things of that nature, and they wanted to upgrade their lighting, and that's right about where we try to get to, so people feel more secure and everything. Because I'd hate to see that building just sitting. Literally, Narren Street cuts off at an angle and goes behind the Jets Pizza. I'm at the end. So, it was a few football fields away.
Thanks for your comment. Anybody else?
I have a question. You mentioned that 123 net was approved.
Yes.
Is there a map showing where?
See me afterwards. Anyone else?
I just wonder, is there an update on that X Energy? Did you get the opportunity to visit?
Yes, I did. Technology, they have 3 prototypes that are functioning now. The technology is being backed by the Department of Energy and Amazon. They hope to have everything approved. Now, this is informal, in about 5 years. My opinion is, that with the ACATs that I spoke with, which were pretty high up the food chain, that there won't be a necessity for a vest after that. So this is modular nuclear technology. And in the interim, we hold and roll. Hopefully what Kevin did and the rest of the communities here will give enough local control that it'll stymie the best for now. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, got a motion to adjourn and reopen the fire meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
John, floor is yours.
All right. Thanks for hearing me tonight. First section is going to be on apparatus and equipment, and Justin will be going through that with us, since he is in charge of equipment and maintenance.
Yeah, so, Alpha One did have a meter strike. I did do the repairs on that. We sourced all the parts and repaired the grill, the headlights, the emblem, pushed out a few dents in the fender and the door, and it's about 90% back now, significantly cheaper than trying to do it another way, so we were able to source parts pretty affordably on that. The Alpha 2, the passenger side mirror was broken off by a bush that was very tight on a driveway. I did replace that. Engine 1 went in recently for preventive maintenance and DOT inspection. Tanker 1 went in for preventive maintenance and DOT inspection as well. That truck did fail the DOT inspection for a few different reasons. We're currently getting quotes on repairing that. The truck is currently out of service due to the repairs needed to make it roadworthy, so we're working through getting quotes on that at the moment. Engine 2 went in for DOT and preventive maintenance as well. That truck recently did slide off a driveway that washed out during the recovery of that truck, there was some damage done to it. Unfortunately, I'm avoidably trying to recover it. Currently, we're getting some prices on getting that repaired as well. I have a couple parts coming for that, for the ladder rack that was damaged on that. Tanker 2 went in for preventive maintenance and DOT recently as well. The 2012 Dodge Charger that we sent to RepoCast failed to meet the reserve. I believe the reserve was set at $2,500. The high bid was only $1,850. We are requesting to lower the reserve on that and send it through one more time.
What did you tell me on that, John? I can't, you told me something.
Which one, that she
Charger.
recommended putting it through the next
Oh, that's what
auction
it was.
because it's a sports car and antique auction, she thought it would do much better in there, so.
Okay. What should we go down to?
Well, could we leave it if it's gonna do better at the next auction? It sounds like maybe we should leave it.
Well, we're not gonna lose money if we drop it down if it goes over, but if it doesn't meet it, then we're still stuck with it.
Well, we
It's a $50 no sale charge at
Yeah.
a time, and I believe they only let you do so many no sale on it before they make you take it back anyways.
Is this the old ordinance car, or is this the old chief's car?
The old chief.
What do you wanna lower it to? 2,000 or something, and sell it for less than that?
We can try it at 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000.
See if it goes for that.
Did you say that, had someone offered you, made offers on the cars before they were going to auction? Was there a minimum that we set them at a minimum because somebody wanted them anyway if we didn't sell, or that?
Justin Lockeline.
Oh, okay.
My offer was $1,250 per car, so I mean that's an option too if it doesn't sell for that reserve.
Well, if someone offered $1,850, why don't we just lower the bid to $1,850? The minimum to $1,850, and if it sells for $1,850, would we be happy to get $1,850 for it?
It's been sitting there for a couple of years at this point, I'd just like to get rid of it.
Yeah,
to be honest.
it's been, I think it was in his driveway for over 3 years,
You still
so.
pay insurance on it?
Oh,
Yes, I say lower the reserve to $1,850. If someone was willing to pay that much the previous time, then maybe they'll come back.
If it doesn't sell then sell them, Justin.
Mhm.
You wanna make a motion for that?
Me? I'll make a motion that we lower the reserve amount to $1,850 for the 2012 Charger to go into, the bid at RepoCast.
Support? I support it. Jim? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And then could you only grab part 2 as well with that one going to RepoCast soon?
Whenever you're ready.
So the old code enforcement car will be going to RepoCast soon as well. I just have to pull out the radio equipment out of that and de-sticker, at least the identifying stickers, take those off of it. Do we want to set that at that same reserve, the $1,850 for that one as well? That one's older, that's an 09.
Were they similar condition or need a similar repairs?
The 12 is in worse condition, but it's a newer vehicle, so I'd say they're both probably gonna pull about the same between age and condition.
Are they V8s or V6s?
Six.
I was not here at the meeting when this was discussed. Has our ordinance officer, has he expressed any interest in using that vehicle?
I asked Jason.
Okay.
So you wanna know whether set the same reserve for that?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we set the reserve on the ordinance car at $1,850. Support?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Our portable air trailer to refill our SCBA's that was got on a grant from the DNR, correct? That one?
Yes.
We're currently working on getting that in working condition. Currently, we have a quote on $1,875. So we need approval to spend that on it to continue moving forward, getting this piece of equipment in operating condition. It'd be a good unit to have available for structure fires in the area as well as mutual aids. It's something not a whole lot of departments in the area have to refill the breathing apparatus.
So the air trailer,
Yes,
how much did you say?
$1,875.
Where did you want to take that out?
What's that?
Maintenance repairs.
I mean, I don't see any issue with it. I motion that we approve $1,875 to come out of maintenance and repairs for the repair of the air trailer.
I support. Laura, you wanna take a roll call, please?
Teresa Bells,
Yes.
Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Keith Weiderhold,
Yes.
Kevin Scramlin,
Yes.
Janelle Keller.
Yes.
And then, finish up the, annual calibration on the, cardiac monitors has been performed.
They passed, I take it?
What's that?
Did they pass?
Two of them didn't. We had, one of them had a cracked case on it. It was cracked last year, but it had just gotten worse and the printer wouldn't work on it anymore, so we had another unit that we had for parts that they swapped it out for us. It saved us about $400 from buying a new case. And then the other one, I think the blood pressure cuff, the automatic cuff pump, was irreplaceable, so that was, at least it was on the, older unit, so we can still use it as a monitor and defibrillator.
Gotcha.
Just have to take manual ones out.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's it. Now we're on to personnel. Caleb Fairless has passed his state testing and is now a certified firefighter 2 with hazmat awareness and driver's training. Jordan Accord will be finishing up with his firefighter next week. Wish him luck on passing his state test. And I'd like to request to hire Torrin McKay for the position of fill-in firefighter medic pursuant to his background check. He is a lieutenant on Holly Village Fire, and he got his paramedic about a year ago and just recently graduated staff and command. So he's a pretty good guy.
I'll make a motion, we hire Torrin McKay for the position of fill-in firefighter medic pursuant to his background check.
And completion of all paperwork.
And
submitted to
completion
the
of all
clerk's
the
office
paperwork.
Prior to.
Yeah, his
that.
application's in there, yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, we recently hired Trevor Dean. He has gotten a position at Livonia Fire.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, we knew he was only gonna be temporary anyways, we just didn't think it was gonna be this fast.
Yes.
And then, Andre Willis just informed us in Springfield that in August, he's moving to Alabama.
So you got a double hit this week.
Yeah. So hopefully, but on the other hand, we recently put out a flyer for the, assistance to education for the tuition recoupment. And I got 2 inquiries on it today, so,
Oh,
I mean, that's just over the weekend, so hopefully something pans out.
sure.
I don't know any of the details on the ones who were inquiring about it, they just said I'm interested in it, and I sent some more information, so.
I know a couple of 14-year-olds who might be interested in that.
They gotta start sometime, right?
You can call them up and ask them if they want an interview.
Anyway, back to my motion.
Well, I'll second Kevin's motion.
And then Justin is just fired, or
Wait,
finished.
Hold on, you want to hire this guy? We ought to vote.
Oh, we didn't.
Laura, you want to take
Sorry.
a vote, please?
That's okay. Jim Christopher,
Yes.
Keith Weiderhold,
Yes.
Kevin Scramlin.
Yes.
Janelle Keller,
Yes.
Teresa Bells.
Yes.
I got off topic there.
It's okay.
Go ahead, John, we'll let you.
Then I'd like to congratulate Justin. He's just finished his Fire Officer 1 class, so he's putting in a lot of effort lately.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Then on to community risk reduction. She left, but Sergeant Millard finished her fire inspections at Camp Tamarack with no significant findings, just little things. We were able to get in and inspect the KOA. Again, just minor violations, a couple GFIs and extension cords. Then I'm in the process of applying for a Ready, Set, Go grant. It's a grant through the International Association of Fire Chiefs. And what it does is it's aimed to reduce your fuel load in your area for forest vegetative fires. It's a small grant, $5,000, and I was hoping to tie it into, I would like to put together an ordinance for accessibility for residential houses. So
So you could use that money for that?
So, yeah, we could pay and also do it to clear some of these driveways out for most of them are elderly people who
Sure.
can't maintain it, so
I like it.
if we can get that, we would do them a favor and keep our trucks from getting damaged.
Yeah, right. Winner, winner.
You got it, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. And the next section is EMS, and Kyle is in the process of transitioning over to our EMS coordinator, so he will be handling the EMS section.
Kind of slowly transitioning into that role, taking on the individual responsibilities as I am able to understand them and wrap my mind around them. So a couple of those things are kind of panning out. Sean Dobbs just recently finished his instructor coordinator class. He's currently waiting to take his state exam, and then he'll be done with that. So we'll have a couple of qualified instructors on the staff here. Our state agency inspection for our medical licensure is on May 23rd, where the state comes on site, and then they do an inspection of all of our ambulances. So over the last several weeks, I've been working on making sure that everything in our ambulances is fully up to date, operational, nothing's broken, everything is working good and not expired. So we've been checking those things very tediously, going through each and every little thing we have on there. And those things are, by the end of next week, ready for inspection. So as long as we can be diligent about restocking them after we go on a call, everything will be in compliance with the state of Michigan when they show up. We're also looking at potentially purchasing some different T-kit bags, those big blue bags that we carry that have all of our extra stuff in them. Those bags are over 15 years old, and a couple of them have broken zippers on the front. We're kind of like tying them shut with the little sealer tags that we use. So it's about time for us to get new bags. We're trying to look at a few different types that better fit the compartments inside the ambulance, give us a little bit more of a efficient working space. So it's going to take us a few, probably months to evaluate the proper bags and pick out the most, not only the most efficient for use, but also cost-effective piece of equipment there. And then on the back of this, you can also see the report cards attached for our students that are currently going through courses and intending to then be a bigger asset to our department. On top of that, I have made a little bit of progress into getting the remainder of our AHA resources for ACLS, BLS, PALS, and pairs. And I'd like to announce that we're going to be doing our first at Groveland pediatric advanced life support classes, as well as the pairs class for the EMTs, which gives us kind of a cutting edge as providers when it comes to dealing with pediatrics, because that can be kind of scary for us if we don't keep up on those skills. So that's just kind of a few of the things that are in the works right now on the EMS side.
What does a T-kit bag cost?
Well, do you happen to know the cost offhand of those ones that they brought us from Boundary?
I think they were $280.
$280 a piece, that fits in the rigs?
Yeah. So the two that they brought us were a little bit oversized, I think. They were a little bit bigger than the ones we want. We're trying to find a smaller, more efficient bag. which will obviously bring the price down a little bit, but we have to also make sure that it has enough compartments inside to hold all of the things that are required for us to have in the bag. So we're working on that. We kinda gotta get the new bag as a demo and then put all of our things in it and arrange it in there to make sure that they're efficient for us before we say, yes, we need 4 of these bags, you know.
Is that how many we need is for?
Yeah, we have 4 ambulances. It's wise of us to keep 4 of those bags in each of them at all times, just so that they're ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Could we get by with 2? Probably, but then that leaves us, if 481's out of service, we gotta switch it to a new truck. The new truck might be at station 2, and now we're jockeying bags around, and it makes it a little more difficult.
It's not uniform.
Yes, currently, we have 4 T-kits, and each rig has its own T-kit that stays sealed all the time unless it's being checked for compliance or utilized for a patient. So, it's always ready to deploy. That's efficient.
Thank you.
Okay, now on to operations. The construction on 75 continues to be a challenge as always. We have our weekly meetings and they pretty much go the same way every time. Nothing much changes, so.
John, I was gonna ask you something about that. So the state police gets money to patrol.
Yeah, they're gonna.
They get grant to patrol that construction. They never give you fire departments any grants?
No,
So the state police gets it to patrol, but you guys get nothing?
correct.
Answer my question.
And I don't know where their funding initiated from, if it was through the contractor or the state themselves that
I don't know where I'm gonna find it.
initiated it, but yeah, it definitely would have been nice because it is quite an added expense with all the departments running every call.
Yeah, I've had a couple discussions with other supervisors. I did not even know it happened that way.
Yeah, just for the accessibility,
Yeah.
we can't get there. We're supposed to use the haul roads and they have the haul roads, everything else other than one lane is ground down on them now and they have a train of semi, dump trucks sitting there that we can't go through, so it's really not a viable option
Yeah, and
for
who
us.
knows what else they cut out of it
Mhm.
until you get there.
Yeah, it's a 2-foot drop off. and
Yeah.
We went through it
It's,
today.
it's not.
We went through it today for quite a ways, and it took us about 17 minutes to get to the patient that was on I-75. And we were going through gravel trailers and giant excavators that were scooping. It's quite dicey over there.
All right, and then Heather Key is in the process of redoing our apparatus equipment location sheets, so she's gone through and taken pictures of the inside of the compartments and doing a digital file, and she's created a QR code to put on each door that we can access the locations through. So it's really cool. But before we just had the pictures stuck on the door, and over time they've kind of gotten worn and things changed, so bring it up into the 20th century. The training committee is also in the process of publishing a new calendar. We have a bunch of new ICs and fire instructors, so we're adding a lot more days for training in there for that. And they're as well producing a calendar with a QR code that lists all of our trainings that we can access and see when things are scheduled. Kyle talked about acquiring all the AHA materials. Sean Dobbs is reviewing 100% of our EMS runs and is doing great with identifying trends and providing education for quality improvement. And it's meeting our state requirements, and he's also becoming more involved in the county QI program. So that will get us a lot more education help through there. Several of our instructors are scheduled to take VFIS, Emergency Vehicle Drivers Training class on June 4th and 5th. We only had one half of an instructor for the last several years, and they did a mandatory update this year that they only offered in Mount Pleasant, so we don't have any now. So it'll be nice to be able to put on the class ourselves without paying an outside instructor like we have been doing. Again, kind of touch base on researching, putting together an ordinance designed to require homeowners to maintain a driveway that's accessible to department apparatus. It's not really like a fine, but more on the lines of a cost recovery ordinance. If we could tie that into it, if we go there and the truck gets damaged on a tree going in, because there are, I mean, it gets beat up pretty bad on these driveways. They're extremely tight. So, and then I'm also in the process of applying for funding for evacuation management for law enforcement and fire service leaders through the International Association of Fire Chiefs. So they'd come here to our facility and put on an evacuation class for the area departments. I also am in the process of reestablishing our billing cost recovery that we used to do on the public utilities. That would be the down wires, gas leaks, etc. And then I request input on a burn permit charity. Right now, we don't charge for the burn permit, and it's done on an annual basis. There is an organization that will do fundraising for us. We can still offer the burn permits, say on a monthly or bi-monthly for free. They'd have to come into the station and do it. But somebody could have the option to pay $40 and get an annual burn permit and get a t-shirt along with it. And we could use that towards funding some special projects, like we would like to get ultrasound monitors to put on the ambulances.
I think that was, how long have you wanted to do that?
Well, I wanted to do the ultrasound.
That was the equipment.
And,
Remember I kept asking you for the CDBG funds? I think that's what it was.
oh, okay. Yeah, they're $3,000 a piece, and we would need at least two of them. $6,000 is not much, but you know, it'd be nice if we could fund it through an alternative means. And there's a couple other departments around that are looking into it as well.
What would you do with an ultrasound on an ambulance?
So initially to start, it would just be for pronouncement. Right now, we can't pronounce a PEA. So if we have the monitor hooked up to them and it's still showing they have a heart rate, a lot of times what happens is just the electrical activity that's going through the heart, and there's not getting any mechanical capture out of it. So the heart's not actually beating. So we would have to transport them to the hospital just to have them pronounced, because they'll just throw their ultrasound on it to see that. But in the future, the next step in that is for identifying any abdominal injuries, any bleeds, ruptured organs. Say they had a spleen, lacerated spleen, we could see blood pooling around that, or anything that's wrong with their lungs.
Would you guys need like special training and all that?
Yes.
To use
Yep.
it?
I was thinking the same thing, I'm like.
God,
Yeah,
these people go to school just to be an ultrasound.
They've started doing it on the other side of the state a couple years ago, and right now, Independence, White Lake, and Springfield is trying to get in on it right now. But Independence has the units, and they've gotten the approval. We've gotten all the protocols through, and the special study outlines accepted by the state.
What does a unit
It's an up and coming thing. Each one of the things is just like about the size of a water bottle, and they're $3,000, and they link up. The neat thing about these ones is they link up and they import all the data right into our ESO, our patient reporting software. So it captures it either does photos, or I think it does up to a 10-second video, so you can actually see if there's any cardiac motion. So.
I'd need to learn a lot more about that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what are you asking us to give you some input on?
Yeah, what your thoughts are on it? If it's something worth researching a little more, or?
People are used to coming in and getting their burn permits for free.
I know, I'm not gonna lie, I know.
I know, that was the only thing when it was brought up to me, cause I was in the process of doing something, so we didn't have to do burn permits at all. I just finished an
I thought
ordinance
you
for
had
that,
to.
when Jeff approached me with it.
Don't we
What's it?
have to?
No,
Oh, I thought we
no,
had to.
all we have to do is pass an ordinance.
Oh, well, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, then we won't have to do it at all, but we do have to provide a means of, public notification. So that would be on the website and signage. Cause, Oxford and Lake Orion have been doing it for about 3 years now, I found out.
Oh, the ordinance?
Yeah, they don't do burn permits anymore,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are, but I do, speaking from the people who would have our faces in front of the community when they apply for that burn permit, and we tell them for the year it's now $40 instead of free.
Mm-hmm.
That's not gonna be pretty.
I don't wanna volunteer for that, but in saying that, I know that I had talked to you two a long time ago about some of those things for raising funds, and I think we had even talked about having community members who are interested, sponsor different things. So you may find people in this community willing to sponsor an ultrasound machine or sponsor your T-Kids.
Yeah,
T-Kids?
Yeah, T-Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, trauma kids.
I agree with you.
I do too. Like, I would love,
I'll be glad to help you raise some money. but
yeah,
I mean that sincerely, but as far as the burn permits, hey, if you can do an ordinance to even get rid of them, I'm even with that.
Okay,
But
I
I don't
have
want-
it all done, I'll bring
But I
it
don't
next
want,
month.
but I don't wanna charge our residents more, how's that?
Yeah,
But I'll be glad to help you try to raise some money.
okay,
Alright.
perfect. And then I'd like to request to have, some sort of working budget to purchase equipment for the new station, like a stove and a range hood and the power washer and the hose reels that go out there, cause none of that was included in the original proposal.
That was money we all figured in anyway. But
Yeah, it was part of that
How much
extra
are you asking
four.
for, John? 10,000, 5,000,
Um,
15, what?
I think I'd be pretty safe with the things that we need right now in order for them to get in here on time with 20.
Which one?
would it be helpful to create a new line item in our budget for, specifically for those?
I don't know, or would it just come out of the other 400,000 that was
Well, I
set
mean,
aside?
it will be coming out of that 400, but I'm just wondering if that would be a good tracking element for it.
I mean, yeah, in my mind, I'm like, where are we at with that 400,000?
That's what I'm
right?
thinking, is if maybe it would be helpful for us to have these, you know, this is the project, but here are the components, so we can see what's actually being spent. So I'll try to work on that, so we can kind of keep a better gauge of what's
Yeah,
going
sure.
where. Even like the sign and stuff, we'll have a better idea. I'll see if I can get that in there.
Mhm, okay.
But you want 20,000 to buy, well, obviously, some of the stuff you need to get in there.
Yeah, you need to get it in there so they can do it before the walls are all done. They can figure out
Yeah.
what's going on. I already gave them the cut sheets for the
Right.
equipment, so.
No, I know he's waiting on us for some of that stuff.
John, is installation included in these, or is that another additive cost?
That is just for the piece of equipment itself.
How would we account then for the installs? At a separate price, do you feel, from the contractor?
Yes.
Okay, well, we handle that, I guess, at another time. This is just to get the equipment there.
Mhm.
Well, and again, I'm hoping this is all part of that big $400,000 umbrella.
You're not alone.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
It's nothing that wasn't accounted for in the layout, but the items themselves were,
Okay.
so
Then I'll make a motion that we approve up to $20,000
I think I'd be safe with that.
for John to purchase the equipment items he listed for the station, new station.
I'll support that.
Could we include those items in the bid or in the motion?
Yeah, the specific items he listed.
I wanted to make sure
You
Laura
can
had those
tell
items.
Laura.
Got a washer and a hose, that's as far as I got.
You got the power washer, hose reels,
And a range.
a range, and a range hood.
Okay,
You got a refrigerator and microwave and stuff already, John?
Yeah, I was just gonna take that, what we have there, it's working fine for now, so.
Do you have a washer and dryer and stuff?
Yep, just have brand new washer and dryer, and then we have a extractor, brand new gear washer on a pallet down in the
When you said
basement
power
that
washer.
we haven't.
And I would say from the budgeted line item of $400,000 that we budgeted.
okay,
Laura, you wanna take a vote on
who
that? I
seconded?
supported it.
Keith Weiderholt,
Yes.
Kevin Scrimlin,
Yes.
Janelle Keller,
Yes.
Teresa Bells,
Yes.
Jim Christopher.
Yes.
Okay.
And then our company trainings, we have a long list of each. You can see, I don't think I need to read through it all. For the alarms for this year, we have a total of 357 versus last year we had 328. The month, we had exactly the same calls. No incidents of interest. We had 36 and 35 medical runs. We had 7 accidents this month, so we're down a little bit from last year. We had 3 grass fires versus 2 last year, and then just 2 mutual aid on house fires. We assisted Springfield on a large grass fire on 417. And we assisted Springfield again with a tanker fire on a structure fire. And we assisted Brandon with a tanker on another structure fire. And for our community outreach, I got us signed up for our Kroger Community Rewards Program, and they have the form attached, so if you just go, if you shop at Kroger and you have a Kroger card, you can go onto your account and enter in our code, and it'll make us as one of your charities, so they take, it's not taking away your Kroger points for fuel or anything, it allocates a certain amount of your bill towards a charity, so it pays out quarterly, no idea what that would be, but it ranges from, you have to get a minimum of $25 in order for them to issue you a check, and it just keeps rolling over until you match it. Or they say some corporations get, $200,000 a quarter, but, they obviously have quite a substantial fan base.
So we get that word out, is that something that?
We're definitely gonna have to set them.
And that big old sign.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
charge Kroger for advertising.
At Kroger number.
Why don't we get like some little handouts for the
Sheets of
big
paper we need to
community
do next
event
week.
Yeah.
next Wednesday?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I have a bunch of pamphlets and flyers I wanted to put out there, as well as we got a fire extinguisher simulator, which is really cool. It's a propane powered, it kind of looks like a grill, but you actually take a water fire extinguisher and put it out. And thought it would be really good for
You bringing that for Fun Day?
community outreach. Yep.
Oh,
Can I spray Janelle with it?
Yeah. It's actually the unit itself, to buy it new is over $12,000, and this one's like brand new. We got it for $8,000, so, yeah, I mean, it'll work excellent for our training requirements, and when we put on our next fire class and in community outreach, we can tie doing the fire extinguisher training, wind escape drills, and our CPR classes together. They thought it would be a really neat thing for them. We've distributed 8 smoke detectors through the detector giveaway. And then Teddy Reinrist went out to Camp Tamarack and put on a CPR demonstration and answered questions for the school group that was out there. They had, in the past years, they had one of their classmates die out there, so.
Died out
It's,
here.
yeah.
Oh, really? Didn't know that.
And then I have Jason Hoogerheid working on getting us a funded certified child seat installation class out here, which is really a pretty big feat because I've been looking into it for a long time and I finally narrowed it down, and he contacted the state and followed up on it, and they said they kind of blew us off for a couple months, and then they just called them back last week and said that we would be in the running for it in October, so.
Good.
Yeah, it'll be another pretty good thing to offer back to the community. And then the rest, the things back here, just the supporting documents. Other than that, I am done.
You good?
John, I know we spent a lot of time and a lot of money on the new station 1. Do we need to make a plan and do a review of station 2, the facility, and
Definitely.
make a list,
It's in,
prioritize some
it's in
things?
dire need of some repairs. So that is very shortly on the list here. We've started to get some quotes on the windows and doors.
You guys
Some
have
other
like
things.
a list of items that need attention that you prioritize, and
Yes. We do have a list started.
so you're at the estimate stage now?
Yeah, we got a price back on doing the windows and a couple of the doors, and it was 42,000, so. Still looking for a couple more quotes on that, and then we have some siding issues. Finish some electrical repairs that were damaged on the fire last fall. And then just the routine maintenance of things. The cupolas are going bad.
So that building had a new roof since you guys moved in there?
It did. It was probably 8 years ago. It was, actually, the initial company who did it used nails that were way too short. They only used 1/2 inches. And they didn't go through, and we lost half the roof in
Really?
a windstorm, so, yeah. But that is in the progress of being done.
All right, anything else? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Oh, geez, I'm sorry, public comments, yeah. I was asleep at the wheel, I apologize.
Yeah, we had it earlier. Public comment.
Good? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn at 9:60.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Hey, John,
Did you want me?